This week's guests are of the podcast Movies and a Meal that you can find on Apple iTunes and Podbean, Ben Penserga and Brad Wilkins. How are you guys doing today?
All right. How you doing, Earl?
I'm doing all right. Thank you guys for coming on. I know especially this time of year as the Oscar nominations come out, you know, it's always something interesting to talk about. I know you guys are big into watching a lot of movies, and I wanted to have you on here to not only just talk about those big award nomination movies, but your favorite sports movies in general.
Ask away. Yeah, fire away, Earl.
Just starting off with the podcast Movies and a Meal, which you guys can find on iTunes and Podbean. What led to the concept and the creation of the podcast?
Well, our friend Keith, we've all worked together, and
yeah.
And Keith is a big movie buff, and, I watch movies, and Brad watches superhero movies, not all movies, but we had kind of just organically started watching a lot of movies together, and then Keith one day was like, why don't we do a podcast? So...
Yeah, dude, Keith and Ben started it, and I was invited after I saw a few movies with y'all in a row, and they were like, why don't you join us? And I'm like, well... I mean, I don't see the amount of movies Keith or Ben see, but I see enough where they go, just come on. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll come see some. And it's a fun time. I have a fun time.
I mean, Keith and I, we watch a lot, but we were joking. There's that episode of, I think it's a pilot episode of 30 Rock, where they're contemplating adding Tracy Jordan to the girl show. And basically it's like, we need like a third heat. Brad is the third heat. And he kind of injects a little bit more energy and a different perspective than Keith and I have.
Yeah.
A different viewpoint. And because a lot of times you don't watch some of these movies like us, so you're not conditioned to look for these things. So there's sometimes a more honest and kind of a raw reaction than maybe Keith or I have. So it's been good. We started summer 2017 on the Bump app, and that's because it was just the easiest thing to do. And then Bump went away in March of 2018, and then we had kind of a hiatus. And eventually we picked it back up and got on iTunes in late July. So I was telling Brad that if I do my math correctly, we're going to record episode 24 today on February 10th, and then we'll have our 25th episode probably next week, depending on what we see. So it's been fun. And we eat a lot. I mean, it's just an excuse. I mean, I think we would have seen the movies anyway, but now we just are happy to be recording them. So
exactly. We get to eat and talk so instead of just talking. So that's always a good thing, in my opinion.
We probably should incorporate it more because I think we don't review the food. But it's just a way to kind of bring us together, I think.
Instead of just sitting in a room and just talking about it. I mean, it adds different restaurants and food joints have different environments. Yeah. And in my opinion, sometimes it's got a little more of an active environment. The music might be a little louder. You got to adjust to that. And then there's sometimes it's like a quiet area sometimes. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a different environment for each different restaurant we go to. And it's interesting to just interact that with what we're talking about with the three of us or the two of us sometimes.
It's a good excuse for us to go out and eat, basically. And again, we're going to talk about movies anyway. So all we're doing is just bringing a microphone to what we would probably do anyway.
I hope the restaurant doesn't kick us out.
Yeah.
So.
Which nobody has.
Nobody has yet,
I mean, occasionally you'll get somebody who will just notice that we're recording, whatever, but no one ever says anything.
So when it came to, I guess, picking locations where you have your dinner and do the podcast, what are some of the places you've been to, especially, I guess, in the Salisbury, Maryland area?
We all have our kind of favorites.
Buffalo Wild Wings, even though it's usually packed. Usually we do podcasts on a Sunday, so usually Buffalo Wild Wings is packed on Sundays. But Buffalo Wild Wings, Ben actually introduced Chinatown Buffet to me, and I enjoy that one. But I know, Ben, you're more of a...
I like Lido's a lot.
Yeah.
I like the buffet.
Yeah.
Keith tends to lean a little bit. He likes this place called Yummy Asian, which, Earl, you'll remember it used to be #1 Chinese buffet in Salisbury, the one that's next to Lido's.
Oh, yeah, on the south side?
It's a buffet there. It's not a buffet there, but...
We've been to other places. Like one time I know we went to Crackle Barrel.
That was a special Brad birthday episode.
Yeah, I enjoy me some Crackle Barrel.
Yeah.
And I know we went to, what's the name of the Asian place in Cleveland?
Oh, yeah, there's,
Kodo.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying in 2019 to kind of add some new places in there because we've been usually, I feel like it's probably the same 6 places if you total up, but it's like Fruitland McDonald's, Boudin Palace in Fruitland, Lido's, Yummy Asian, Buffalo Wild Wings. I think those are probably Chinatown Buffet. Those are probably our top places to record.
Is Yummy Asian a buffet still like the old?
It is. You can order at the menu, but there is still the buffet back there. It hasn't changed.
Okay, yeah. Because last time I went there, been years ago, the best thing about that place, of course, was the salt and pepper shrimp. And I feel like there's no other place. Maybe the Pocomoke version of the actual remaining one China buffet. But
yeah, I remember you and I went to Pocomoke one time to eat there because I know you raved about it. So, but yeah, and I like it too. There's a throwback because I don't know what they call them now. Like when I was a kid in the cafeteria, we called them Dixie cups. It's a little ice creams that are like in a little cup there. They don't give you the wooden paddle to eat it off of, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I took, 5 of them. I take advantage of the all-you-can-eat. So I take advantage of all-you-can-eat. So.
They haven't Homer Simpson, do you have they? Drag you out yelling, I didn't get all I could eat.
Yeah.
They, in fact, once I record this, like Brad and I are going to record a review for Lego Movie Part 2, and then I think we're going to have probably here just because we're already here, and then we're going to go over to the Chinatown Buffet.
I tell you, if you guys ever decide to come up here and do one, cheaper buffet on Sundays that is so much quality food, equal, maybe better than Chinatown Buffet. I feel like Teppanyaki Grill, giving them the shout out, local businesses shop in Delaware. But yeah, like the price that you would pay for going to the Chinatown Buffet at night is actually far cheaper at this one because it's like on Sunday it's $12.95.
Wow.
All day Sunday.
I got you.
And then on nights it's like $10.95 weeknights. Yeah.
That's pretty cheap. Yeah.
I like the food there, a wide variety, and not that many other good Chinese buffets. I've tried a couple there, and I've been sadly disappointed with those. As we move on to our discussion and topics of movies, I know, Ben, you sent me a list from the website Vulture of the 50 best sports movies, and I had scanned through a little bit of them, and some of them I'm wondering, again, we've learned that with movie criticism and criticism of anything in pop culture, sometimes it can be very objective.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what their rationality was for some of these other ones.
It's a very surprising list. Talking to Brad before we started recording, I won't say it is kind of snooty, but it's just what the number ones are and some of the beloved sports movies, like kind of deep in the list.
Two classics that probably a lot of people, if they saw it, would probably put it at least in the top 10 was Hoosiers and Rudy.
Yeah, they're way down there.
They're way down there. Hoosiers, I remember off my top of my head, it's 22nd on the list. Yeah. And Rudy, I believe, is lower than that. I think it's it's either in the high 30s, maybe. Yeah, low 30s, high 20s. So, I mean, that's two staples that you would think most lists would have in the top 10. They've got them way down.
And I can understand Rudy, but Hoosiers is a classic. I know there's the hot take from Spike Lee, I guess, before that Hoosiers is racist. I don't see that at all.
I mean, it's a product of the time period, too.
You're looking at a movie set in the 50s, made in 1986 from 2019 eyes.
Yeah.
But I kind of disagree with that one.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
If we go from the top 25 down, I'm looking at...
If the top 10 is basically, they've got Slapshot ranked 10.
That's a classic movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Newman is obviously one of the greatest movie stars of all time.
Yeah.
And it's a different role it'd be like, I'm trying to think of a contemporary. It'd be something like if George Clooney, I guess he did a little bit with something like Leatherheads, even though no one watched it.
Yeah.
But if he just kind of went like totally against character and in a hockey movie, I think that would be like what Paul Newman did.
Yeah. And I mean, number 9 is A League of Their Own, which is a good movie.
It's classic. It's a classic movie.
I don't know if it's top 10, but it's a real good movie.
I mean, it's very quotable. I think,
Tom Hanks puts a heck of a performance on. So
there's no crying in baseball. It is in the lexicon. Even if you've never seen the movie.
Plus, it's got an eclectic cast.
You know the quote, even though you may not have seen the movie. And the funny thing is, I look at that list of the top 25, I've seen maybe about fully 6 of them. The other bottom half of the 25, I haven't really glanced again, but I feel like I've seen a lot more of those movies.
The Major League is one of your, if it's not like your all-time, I know it's really up there for you, Earl. How do you agree with the ranking there? I think that's...
Major League is actually 38 on the list. So
I assume you object to that and you think it should be higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. A ton of quotable lines.
Yeah. Just the humor in that movie alone just makes it a good movie, in my opinion. A good sports movie it adds the backdrop of the Cleveland area, which is hoping for a championship from any team. And I mean, it adds a lot of backdrop to it. And I think it really makes for a good movie. I would definitely have it in my top 10. Major League would be in my top 10.
Yeah, so, I think for sure.
So, I was counting down the list too, Earl. I think I've only seen like maybe, I think around your type for the top 25, 7 or 8 on the list. I mean, if you want,
I just want to glance at the
top 10. It's a little,
there you go.
But that's mine. So Slapshot, A League of Their Own. Ali's 8. 7 is The Wrestler. 6 is Pride of the Yankees. 5 is Foxcatcher. 4 is Bull Durham. 3 is Rocky, 2 is Raging Bull, and 1 is Hoop Dreams. Yeah. So that's the top 10.
I mean, Hoop Dreams is fantastic. I remember watching it on VHS, and it's so long, it's 3 hours. It took 2 tapes, so you have to like put tape 1 and tape 2 in. Yeah. But, I mean, that's a classic one. I don't really have any beef with that. I'm surprised Foxcatcher is a sports movie, but it's also really a drama. I mean, I guess there are straight sports movies like Major League and Hoosiers.
And there's like Foxcatcher and The Wrestler, too. The Wrestler
it's drama, but it just has some sports in it.
Yeah. So, like Raging Bull as well. Raging Bull, it does focus on the boxing, but it's a lot more drama-oriented than, like, even Rocky. I mean, I think there's only maybe, like, 15 minutes screen time total of Rocky that's actually in the ring. There might be a little more, but... I mean, that movie was, I don't have it on top of my head, but it's at least 2 hours long. So, I mean.
There's arguments for them, too. I mean, Moneyball really doesn't have any baseball in it, but I think it's. And that one, in fact, I feel like is beyond sports, really. It's about kind of going against the grain a little bit and fighting against the system. And it's a good symbol of that. And that's what kind of makes that movie really good, is just that, you're just like the A's. They really portray the A's as really going against everything that baseball has done for years and being successful at it. And you can apply that same message to your work and just how you live and whatever you do, that you don't necessarily have to get in line or, do things because it's always been done that way. You can try to think outside the box.
And I look at some of these movies on the list. I believe it can be a very pretentious list just by looking at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I looked at another list that Fox Sports did 2017, and the movie they had at number 1 on this list, Hoop Dreams, they did a top 25, and Hoop Dream was like 21 or 22. So, I mean, it's like you said when you started, each critic will have their own style and their own opinion on a lot of movies, and it just, like each list has its own style and thing of its own. This one tends to skew.
All lists will spark debate, and, we did an episode on the old app before last year's Super Bowl, the 3 of us, and there was very few repeats, I think, in our sports list. It goes into taste and things like that.
So I'm a big fan of Rocky. I'd have that, I think, number 1 on my list would be Rocky, the first one. So,
I think Hoosiers would be for me. Hoop Dreams is very solid, and some things, Hoosiers, Moneyball, I watched because of the drama and the seriousness and kind of, that underdog thing and how emotional part for me. But then, I like to enjoy Major League. I mean, it's pretty silly. Yeah. And it's enjoyable, and that's why I like it, And something, too, like even... Like Remember the Titans too, or one of those.
That did. That
wasn't even on the list.
That was not even on the list. That was one movie I forgot about. It was not even on the list. It was Remember the Titans, and that would be top 5 for me.
Yeah, and again, that's another one that's kind of I think people know and like and can quote and everything like that. So,
in your opinion, or what's your favorite movie?
Oh, favorite sports movie. I feel like, oh man, I have a partial favoritism towards Major League 2. Major League 1 is a classic.
Yeah.
Major League 2, really?
Yeah, that's one of the first ones I've seen in full.
Oh, that's man. He's not. I know.
I think at least the little meta nods that Wesley Snipes becoming an action star and that whole Black Hammer, White Thunder one. Jack Parker was a hateable heel in that movie.
There's a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense in that movie.
I'll agree with you. Major League 2 is, in my opinion, it's a good movie. I like Major League 1 a little better, but Major League 2 is a good movie on its own.
Major League 1 is far better than number 2. Yeah. But 2 is one of those ones I'd see on TV every weekend.
Stop and watch.
Yeah, and I'd stop and watch. That's around the time of Rookie of the Year, Sandlot.
And, I will ride for Little Big League all day. I love that movie. I love Rookie of the Year, or Angels in the Outfield, which I think are sillier.
Yeah, they're both a little silly. I like the Sandlot. Sandlot would be a top 25 for me.
That's another strong movie.
That is a strong movie, and it's got a strong message in it, too. And plus, James Earl Jones.
It's a sweet movie.
Yeah,
I like it. But it's not like over the top like Angels in the Outfield.
Or a little unbelievable like Rookie of the Year,
Plus, Little Big League, it's got major leaguers. It's like Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson, who, those are some of my favorite players growing up. They're kind of the bad guys, actually. Carlos Baerga's in it. He strikes out. It's pretty good. It's got Jonathan Silverman. I mean, I don't know. I will advocate for that movie every day.
Yeah.
I thought Little Big League was very boring. It just felt like the pacing was slow, and I just really couldn't get into it.
That montage, because every sports movie has a montage, and a baseball has a montage, baseball movies. When they're getting better and it's scored to Run Around Sue, I don't know what it is. I like it.
So each person has their own taste and likes.
What are the ones, Earl, you think? What are some of the ones that got left off?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Sunset Park. I like Sunset Park. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, the basketball movie. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen Sunset Park, so maybe opinions changed. I feel like Coach Carter would probably be on there as well in the ilk of Remember the Titans.
That is the late 90s, early 2000s, the heyday of the struggling team.
Yeah.
And then there's a new coach who has a new way of thinking and whips everybody into shape.
With a real life implement behind it.
Yeah. I mean, Remember the Titans. We Are Marshals like that. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go to the comedy route like Happy Gilmore, Dodgeball, and Talladega Nights, I'm surprised both those made the list, but I've seen those multiple times, and I don't see many movies multiple times.
And Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell kind of have their own subgenre of sports movies, if you think about it. I mean, Adam Sandler did golf and a little bit of hockey. You know, obviously, he's done 2 football movies, right? Will Ferrell's at least dipped into sports that don't
get no recognition because really. How many racing movies can you name with NASCAR? I can only think of 2 off the top of my
Days
head.
of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Yeah. So
he also did Kicking and Screaming.
He did Screaming, soccer. He did Blades of Glory, ice skating.
Yeah.
Semi-Pro, which is terrible, actually. It's not a good movie.
Yeah.
The Bud Light commercials were worth every bit of it.
I think that's one of those, where they burned all the good jokes in the trailers.
Yeah, trailers.
But he's got some. I mean, there's a lot we don't, and they just the Disney run again in the late 90s, like Little Giants.
Yeah.
Little Giants, a good one. Wow.
Yeah, there's some other great ones too. Friday Night Lights, that actually kind of got eclipsed by the TV show. I think people actually probably hold the TV show in the higher esteem.
Yeah.
Not that Varsity Blues. I mean, there's just a bunch of movies like that. They're entertaining, and there are also ones that just no one saw, but I think would probably be decent. Like what's that one with Kevin Costner where he's coaching a cross country team?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The one I remember with Kevin Costner is the baseball one where
the game.
Yeah, that's the game. So
I mean, the rookie is another, kind of that life story underdog, with Dennis Quaid. So.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid. That's what I was thinking of. So.
I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of movies, right? All the Right Moves, you could say, is a sports movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Heaven Can Wait with the Rams. There's a bunch.
Yeah,
it's just what your taste is.
Mm-hmm. McFarlane USA.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the cross country one.
That's the cross country one.
Yeah.
That's what I disagree with on this Vulture list is they really have Chariots of Fire. I mean, nobody, I think our age, we're all about the same age, and nobody our age or younger probably knows or hears or cares about Chariots of Fire. Even the theme song, I think, it was nice back in the day, but
it was still low, though, for a lot of people. Yeah. It was, I think, 17, on the list, Chariots of Fire.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people in the age group before us, I know that a lot of people love that movie, but not many people would want to really, it was the 4-minute mile, right?
Chariots of Fire was about the British Olympic team.
That's right.
In the 20s.
That's right, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
I mean, there's 2 movies that with Steve Prefontaine. It's I forget which one's supposed to be good. Without Limits and Pre. I think Without Limits is supposed to be the better one.
Yeah. And then there's even the was it Owen? Is that the name of it? The one about Jesse Owens?
There's that one. 42. There's all these other ones. The Ernie Davis one.
Oh, The Express. Yeah.
And then you even got TV movies like Brian's Song.
Brian's Song is not on this list.
I'm surprised. I remember watching that.
Bang the Drum Slowly, but they don't mention Brian's songs. I mean, I Dare You Not to Cry.
Yeah.
You watch that. Either one. Either the original or the remake.
Yeah. I saw that when I was in 8th grade, and that movie made me
I feel like the original is so much better with Bernie Casey and James Caan. I feel like that one is such a better movie.
The remake is with Mekhi Phifer, but there's so many. Glory Road. It's an easy movie to make. There was that one last year, right? I forgot what it was called. It's like an inspirational one where that volleyball player died and the whole team rallied.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot what that was called.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Give me a second. That one on. But yeah.
What's the worst sports movie you've ever seen, Earl? What do you think?
Oh, boy. Yikes. Major League 3. All day. Major League 3 is the worst.
Oh, yeah. The Back to the Minors.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Yeah, that's bad.
It was straight garbage. When the lights went off, I turned it off.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Sean Mayer is the guy who played Brian Piccolo in the remake.
Nobody.
Yeah, he was in Firefly. He was in those type of movies. So.
A couple movies that were discussed, like Eddie discussed the movie The Program.
The Program is famous or infamous for that scene that they cut out. You think about it now, it's kind of unprecedented. For people who don't know, when The Program came out, there was a scene where players lay down in the middle of the road, and then, just because they're, I think, high on something or whatever. Yeah. And then, of course, some dum-dums did it themselves. They got killed. So they actually pulled the movie and recut it and cut that scene out. But I don't remember much more about it than that. And James Caan is in it, right? I think
it was also directed and written by David S. Ward, who wrote the Major League series, the first two. Yeah. Halle Berry was in it as well.
Yeah. There's nothing, there's just somebody to talk about.
It's hard to make a list up of them. It really is. And especially when you try to make like a lower list, like when you do top 25 or top 10, it really is about preference. Because, there's a vast pool of sports movies in that.
The more we talk about it, the more I think of other movies like Necessary Roughness, Johnny Be Good, Gridiron Gang, right? That's the one with The Rock and Exhibit.
Wildcats, the first pairing of Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. What's cool, though, especially when you look at older sports movies now, is because a lot like war movies, you have to have a deep cast because there's a lot of people. You're filling out teams, right? Yeah. So when you look back at like Angels in the Outfield, Matthew McConaughey is in this movie, right? What's his name? Adrian Brody is in this movie. Mm-hmm. Rudy. It's like Rudy's like tutor best friend is Jon Favreau. The guy who gives him a hard time, that O'Brien guy, that's like young Vince Vaughn. It's always kind of a treat to watch those movies back and say, oh, well, that guy's a star now. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
It's funny when you talk about Rudy. The first thing I think of, I don't even think about everybody hoisting on the shoulders. I always think about that Charles S. Dutton line. He said, look at you. You're 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, and you want to play football. That's the thing that stands out the most.
Yeah, I think that scene, right, and the it's kind of made up, but the one where
the uniforms.
Yeah, my brother and I would always quote like, "What's that? Yeah, who's the wild man now?" Like that one. And I think that like for my brother and I, the sports movies that we probably quote the most are probably Rudy and Remember the Titans. I don't know why, we just enjoy that line where Will Patton is like, "You guys need to shut it down," right? And he's just like, "We're not getting another yard." And like, you blitz until blah, blah. And that's that. And in the training, right, when he's like, jump on that football like a star man on a Christmas ham, or something like that. Yeah. So
honestly, for me, the most quotable movies are actually the more comedy versions, like Major League.
Major League, of course,
I love Major League, and actually Talladega Nights and Dodgeball.
Talladega Nights, that's the thing I was telling Brad is that, I have to admit, I've never seen Dodgeball, but I know the quotes.
You can dodge a ball.
Yeah,
what?
Exactly.
Bam, right in the face.
Exactly. So. Obviously, that's where the Ocho originated at, things like that. And, Major League, unfortunately, it's like, if we want to keep this not explicit, we probably have, there's not a lot of quotes that we can say in Major League.
Talking about deities hitting curveballs, playing third base as a matador.
Yeah. The seriousness of heart attacks.
Yeah.
So
Willie Mays Hayes.
It's like it's a spiritual thing, it's an emotional thing, or a heart attack. Who said heart attack? I did.
Or it's like, you may run like Mays, but you hit, I can't say the rest.
Oh, my God. That's why I have number 2 and number 1. 2 was just because that's the first one I saw of that and Rookie of the Year and Sandlot. Yes, I know Rookie of the Year is so over the top, but I like it.
Yeah. I go to a lot of autograph shows, and Earl, you've been to them before too with me. And a couple of years ago, I think maybe the last one I went to, or maybe 2 months before, they had Thomas Ian Nichols, who was the Rookie of the Year guy and was in American Pie. And he just walked right by me. I'm like, that's him.
Wow, he was in American Pie?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the guy who stresses for them to make the bet.
Oh,
he's the one who's dating Tara Reed, I think.
Okay. Because when I think of Rookie of the Year, I think of Gary Busey.
Yeah.
And John Candy was also.
Daniel Stern. Yeah, those are the 2 I think of the most. So, man, that movie. I always the kid's always secondary about that when I'm thinking about that in the movie. But
yeah, John Candy was in there in the.
Yeah, he was.
Another underutilized role for John Candy, which not much longer after that he would pass away.
And John Candy, that's another sports movie we didn't talk about. Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
It's like
God. If you ask anyone about Cool Runnings, you probably get a lot of people who will tell you, man, Cool Runnings. Man, Leon was in that. Dougie Doug.
Dougie Doug.
Yes, Dougie Doug. And I know we talked about, in addition, another episode, I talked about The Sixth Man with Kadeem Hardison and Lance.
There's a lot of lame movies in the 90s like that. Six Man, Celtic Pride.
That's the
one where they kidnapped Danny.
Yeah, with Dan Aykroyd and Daniel Stern.
Yeah, a lot of Daniel Stern mentions, but honestly, out of all the sports movies I've seen, I haven't seen many, but just thinking off the top of my head, that would probably be the worst one I've seen. It was okay, but I mean, it just got a little out there at the end.
I'm surprised we didn't mention Space Jam.
Space Jam? I like Space Jam.
It's cultural relevance, and it had, as I mentioned with Mitchell Northern in the previous episode, one of the best soundtracks for a sports movie ever.
Yes, it did.
Except the R. Kelly stuff. Also, his behavior outside of that, I just feel like I Believe I Can Fly is just overplayed anyway. I didn't like that song because they
did overplay it, yeah, but at the time, that was a good song. I mean, not his old personality and all that, but as a singer in general, I mean, that was not a bad song. It's overplayed.
I don't even think it's one of the better songs, honestly. And the problem with that is, I'm glad we were sort of shifting subjects. The problem is we'll never be able to separate any artist from their music and what they do away from the mic, because there's a lot of people. If you were to do that, we'd have a very empty list of music, because there's a lot of people who did a lot of questionable stuff.
Yeah, Space Jam soundtrack. Does that have Quad City DJs on that?
Yeah, the Space Jam. There's Monica for You. There's Hit 'em High with LL, Busta Rhymes, Method Man. Who else? Then there's Basketball Jones with Barry White and Chris Rock.
I feel like basketball movies, maybe they're more miss than hit. I mean, I think there's also like Joanna Man.
Oh.
There's also
Eddie. Eddie. With R.I.P. Malik Sealy. And Dwayne Shit just now.
Yeah.
Man, you're bringing up some bad memories on that one.
It's not a sports movie, but I just want to give a George Mearson shout out.
I heard it was in Salisbury.
Yeah, My Giant. Yeah, he was. Which is
I watched My Giant. Yeah, it's a long time. I mean, it's loosely based on Billy Crystal's time hanging around Andre the Giant, but
yeah.
Oh man. If you ever get a chance, I'll recommend this, and I like cross-promoting other things I've seen. There's this website, this YouTube channel called Wrestling with Regret, where they do movie reviews on wrestling ones. And they did Body Slam with the Tonga Kid and Roddy Piper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually saw that movie, and that one was... I was younger when I saw that. I was like, that's cool. They've got wrestling in a movie. At the time, I was like, I've never seen that before. And that one had a lot of wrestlers in it, too. It was a lot of wrestlers at the time.
Ric Flair had a cameo. I think Freddie Blassie was there. It was a ton of guys.
There was a ton of fans.
Oh, yeah, Captain Lou was in there.
Captain Lou, yeah.
Because I know you two are obviously big wrestling fans. Besides The Wrestler, is there any definitive wrestling movie? I mean, Earl, I've been trying to talk Brad into seeing Fighting With My Family, because that's a wrestling movie.
That comes out next week, actually. So that might be our... It's kind of odd because, like I said, I've told Ben about my beef with wrestling actors. And it's because, for the most part, we've seen them act in a wrestling ring, especially like Steve Austin and The Rock and all those. I mean, I've seen most of what they do in a wrestling ring. So seeing them act in something different, it doesn't strike me as the best. So there's not been many movies about wrestling in general.
Yeah, pro wrestling.
There have been movies about wrestlers. Like I know they've done a couple about Andre the Giant recently.
Oh, Wrestling with Shadows. That's a good documentary. Yeah. Ben, I'd suggest that's probably maybe the ilk of, I'm trying to think of, not when we were, no, I'm not even going to compare it to when we were king. It's something just, if you, I would recommend Wrestling with Shadows.
It's legit. It's actual legit.
Yeah, behind the scenes. It's the night of the Montreal Screwjob. You have to watch that, Ben. I would recommend that movie. In general, that is really good.
I forgot all about that movie. Yeah, that's actually one you would probably want to see.
Would you guys, I remember, Brad, you and I have talked about this, but I can't remember. Would you guys recommend that Ric Flair one, that 30 for 30?
Oh, yeah, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's different. It's very candid. I mean, Ric Flair is very candid in his interviews. With most wrestlers, they stay in character when they do interviews. And Flair was very poignant and very, very truthful with his comments. So that's a good one. And I've heard the one that they did, I think it was HBO, about Andre the Giant. I've heard that one's a real good one, too. I haven't seen it.
That's a really good one. The referee, remember, Brad, the referee Tim White with the lunchtime suicides? Yeah, he was Andre's handler, so he was there for most of the stuff. So you got to talk to him. Yeah, they have Hogan in there, and sometimes I feel like with Hogan, he sort of goes over some of the story. It's like, Yeah, they had Vince in there.
Simon 900 pounds, and he had a heart attack after the match or something.
In front of a million people. So, Ben, the story about Hulk Hogan, every time he talks about he body slams Andre the Giant, his weight fluctuates, the size of the crowd fluctuates, and how soon after he dies fluctuates.
Exactly.
Because if that's, 87, he died, really 6-7 years later.
I think his last appearance in WWE was 91, I think.
And he was in WCW for a couple of appearances.
Yeah, I think it was like 90, 91, I think. So, Hulk Hogan has a tendency to exaggerate a lot of stats.
Yeah, even on the stand in court. But that's a different story for a different time. I know we're running a little low on time. I know one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about are the Oscars and some of the categories. A film critic that I like watching, he talked about if you want to do a best movie category, the best way you should pick it is you should have the winner of each of the different categories, best foreign film, best animated film, best documentary, things like that. And each one of those goes on to represent the best picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you have those different categories. That way, there's not a whole bunch of other movies that get any love with anything else. But I thought that would be an interesting idea. Yeah. I mean, like, for example, then in that case, Goodbye Basketball, the Kobe Bryant one would have been a nominee and things like that. And I feel like that would be better than a whole bunch of other stuff in movies I haven't seen.
Well, I mean, I guess the argument against that is that you're mixing the genres up too much, and some people just, aren't into documentaries, and
Plus, I mean, they do give credence to. There's been movies that got robbed, and I mean, they're in the same category as the movie that won the Oscars. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I think you would need.
You mean like overall?
Overall.
Or maybe a couple of the seven best or whatever the best movie categories and their genres go, and then maybe like 2 or 3 wild cards.
Yeah, I mean, best picture, there's some snubs, and I think looking back, we already have some, like what Brad said, that should have won but didn't. I think a couple of examples off the top of my head, I would say.
I couldn't think of any off my head.
I would say Crash over Brokeback Mountain. Yeah. I would also say maybe Saving Private Ryan or Thin Red Line. They lost to Shakespeare in Love. Pulp Fiction over, this is debatable because people love Forrest Gump, but you can say Pulp Fiction over Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
But, now that we look back in the lens, what movies are still held up in high esteem and have cultural relevance? And whoever talks about The English Patient, whoever talks about, actually most of the times when people talk about Crash, it's to say just how terrible it is.
What about The Artist? Nobody watches silent film movies.
The Artist is another one, I think. I'm not really sure, and maybe you just have to go. Maybe the voters just said we're going to go against the grain or whatever.
Whoever brought in the most money, like Snoop Dogg would say, "Money, money, money." That's all it is. It's about that. The last silent film movie I saw was Mel Brooks' Silent Movie. That's the last one I saw. That's a 1973 movie that I saw in the 90s, early 2000s. That's my thing. I mean, some of these movies I don't trust. Maybe like the MTV Music Awards and the Movie Awards because. My opinion, I don't go see many movies anymore, and I don't agree with a lot of the pop culture stuff. But then some of these artistic movies that get the awards and the Oscars, they look boring. Yeah, like we watched The Shape of Water. You know what that'll be forever known as.
I mean, I'm not really sure how that one's going to hold up. I mean, I do like in this year's crop. I haven't seen all the movies. As much as I love Black Panther and like Black Klansman and some of these other ones, I don't know. I still like Roma the best. I don't know if it'll win because it is a foreign film. It is subtitled and in black and white. But maybe that's what the people are.
I really think the Green Book, and I haven't seen the Green Book, but there's been a lot of buzz about it. I really think it's probably going to. It's like. I don't want to say the favorite, but I think a lot of people going in might go for it. And I think there's better movies than that. And,
I guarantee you, if the Green Book wins, 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to be like, that was really dumb.
I feel like that one's interesting. Like, look at Denzel winning his award, his Oscar for Training Day. There's 2 reasons he won it. One, because I don't think it was his best role. Malcolm X, in my opinion, was his best role.
Yeah.
The other reason is because Russell Crowe threw a phone at somebody, and that's the only reason that Denzel won, because Russell Crowe couldn't stop acting a fool.
Well, in Denzel's defense, he took an otherwise blah movie, and that movie, there was originally a script with Samuel L. Jackson and Matt Damon instead of Ethan Hawke and Denzel. And he lifted up the material,
which he has a history of doing.
He's just, he's fantastic in that role. Yeah. No, that's not his best role, but sometimes that's not what happens. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio won for The Revenant, but I don't know if that was his best role. I mean, but most famously, Al Pacino in Son of a Woman. That's not his best role, but sometimes it's just like a cumulative effect. You're like, okay, now's your time, and this is good enough.
Just like Sally Field. So Sally Field.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have people who come out of nowhere: Jennifer Hudson, Jamie Foxx. Yeah. We all know Morgan Freeman and Denzel got snubbed on Oscar awards before. They finally, I forgot, did Denzel win his first one for Glory, or was was that Morgan Freeman's one too? I mean, or was that Driving Miss Daisy?
Morgan Freeman, I'd have to look it up. I think he won one for $1 Million Baby, and I know he was nominated maybe for Unforgiven. I don't know if he won for that one. But I don't know. I mean, I think, if you want to bring it back to this year, Glenn Close, I think, has been nominated like 7 times for an Oscar. People seem to really enjoy her performance. And I don't know what that movie's called because no one's seen it. But and maybe she'll win it because
the Wife or something.
Yeah, The Wife. Yeah. Maybe that's one of those things, again, like it's a cumulative Oscar. Like, okay, you got passed over. This is your kind of lifetime achievement.
Morgan Freeman's lone Oscar win has been was in 2005 as a supporting actor for $1 Million Baby. Yeah, so but he was nominated for Invictus as Best Actor and Shawshank Redemption with Best Actor.
Yeah.
And Best Actor in 1990's Driving Miss Daisy.
Oh, okay. So
he's been nominated, but it was $1 Million Baby was his one and only win so far.
I think sometimes it's all about the money because, hey, Anna Paquin has an Oscar, but when you look at that, you would have thought that career would have kept going, but not always a guarantee. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why they should do young Oscar. But I mean, like, just like athletes, like an athlete can have a fantastic year or two, and then just never do anything again. Roger Maris?
Some people, I mean, not that Anna Paquin is. I mean, she's still working. She's still a decent actor. People seem to like her. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of a once in a lifetime role for her. It's lined up properly for her.
Like Peyton Hillis.
I think that would be an idea. Maybe bring back the young Oscars for different age groups, so that way, unless their role beats the whole field, I feel like you should have one for young actors as well. They used to do it.
Maybe I feel like you oversaturate a little bit, or like the old, the argument of like everybody gets a trophy kind of thing. Just like,
I mean, I'd do award for most promising actor because there's somebody who has a promise but never fulfills it. And just like Rookie of the Year, just like the Rookie of the Year awards. Like I said, Marty Cordova Bob Hamlin beat out somebody and ended up being a Hall of Famer. So the weirdest things happen. But I guess we do a quick rundown on the awards. Your thoughts on who do you think would win the best movie? Running through quick: actor in supporting role, Mahershala Ali, Green Book; Adam Driver, Black Klansman; Sam Elliott, A Star Is Born; Richard E. Grant, Can You Ever Forgive Me; Sam Rockwell, Vice.
It'd probably be Mahershala Ali, I would just say. I mean, I know he's already won one, but people seem to like that movie, and that would be for me.
I'll say Adam Driver just because that way a Spike Lee movie will get its Oscar nod, and then everybody will say, "Shut up." That's how it feels like the Academy will be sometimes.
Have you seen Black Klansman?
I have not seen it. There's a bunch of movies I do want to see.
Yeah. If you have a Regal, I'm not sponsored by Regal, but if you have a Regal, I don't know if you can still buy it, but they have that Regal Movie Pass. Because Roma is a Netflix exclusive, they don't have that, but you are showing the other 7 movies for $35, which is a great deal, I think. So
he's looking at actress in a supporting role right now.
Okay, let's run those down. Amy Adams in Vice, Marina de Tavira, Roma, Regina King, If Beale Street Could Talk, Emma Stone, The Favorite, Rachel Weisz, The Favorite.
I wouldn't be surprised if Regina King took that one, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot of buzz on that movie.
She's just quietly good. You don't ever get... She always is good for a couple Emmys and everything like that. And I haven't seen that movie, but that's pretty good. I wonder if the old Rachel Weisz, Emma Stone, their votes are going to cancel each other out, divide the vote. Amy Adams, I just haven't... I mean, people panned Vice, and it's not good. And...
I know Keith did.
Yeah, I enjoyed the woman who was in Roma. I just don't know if she's going to win.
Yeah, it would be nice if Regina King wins. That way, Huey and Riley Freeman get an Oscar. Actor in the lead role: Christian Bale, Vice; Bradley Cooper, A Star Is Born; Willem Dafoe, At Eternity's Gate; Rami Malek, Bohemian Rhapsody; Viggo Mortensen, Green Book.
I think all signs point to Rami Malek. He's basically swept all the other awards, Golden Globe, SAGs. I think it's his
to lose. And even though I have not seen any of the 4 movies, I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, and Rami Malek should win that award. He was that good in that movie, in my opinion.
I'm going to say, just because it's the Academy and sometimes weird stuff wins, Willem Dafoe gets the Oscar. I'm going with that because it's Willem Dafoe. It might be another Lifetime one because I heard Bradley Cooper's role in A Star Is Born was not good. Lady Gaga's was better. And just because Rami Malek won all of those, the whole Bryan Singer thing might tint that.
Maybe. But
everybody wants to be.
I agree that controversy does hurt you, but I don't think that's. I think Malik's performance kind of outweighs the controversy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I heard the movie was but his performance was the best part of it.
I agree with you on that one. So, all right.
Actress in a leading role, Yalitza Aparicio, Roma, Glenn Close, The Wife, Olivia Colman, The Favorite, Lady Gaga, A Star Is Born, Melissa McCarthy, Can You Ever Forgive Me?
I like the nominees. They're very diverse. Melissa McCarthy is a nice choice. I spoke about this in our podcast, but Yalitza Aparicio, who's in Roma, this is her first role ever. Basically, her sister wanted to go out for this role, and then she got pregnant. Like, well, you shouldn't, waste the audition, like the opportunity. So she went instead of her sister, and she landed this role, and she's very good. Again, having said that, I would probably put the odds on Glenn Close again. I haven't seen it. I know it's playing here or in Ocean City, and maybe I'll be able to catch that. But this might be one of those it's your time finally, Glenn Close. I know it's a good role for you, and we'll give it to you for this. So I think that's what it's going to be.
Something's telling me Lady Gaga might pull a Jennifer Hudson and get this award because, hey, everybody raved over her role. And while Glenn Close is basically, in my opinion, Meryl Streep without the Oscars, actually, my brain says Lady Gaga, my heart going to say Melissa McCarthy. They might give it to her just because you never know.
That would be, that
would be an upset.
Yeah, that would be a big upset.
But it'd be an interesting upset. But
I think Melissa McCarthy, it's kind of an honor to be, the nomination is the award. Yeah.
She slowly might be pulling the Tom Hanks, go from big, Tom Hanks wasn't a big TV star. They're really, Jennifer Aniston might be the only big TV star to big movie star, but I don't think there's been big TV star to become a big award-winning actor. Even Denzel wasn't a big TV star on St. Elsewhere. Animated feature film, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I really like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I do too. But this category is the hardest one, in my opinion.
It's pretty stacked.
It is a stacked, because I've seen most of the movies on this list. And Isle of Dogs, even though there wasn't much fanfare for it, it was a solid movie. And The Incredibles 2 was great too. But I just love Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. So,
if they did that would be just a really good sign. Like, okay, you guys are kind of with it. You understand. Yeah. So that would be my pick, yeah.
They could say, well, here's your comic book movie. Sorry, Black Panther, you're not getting a shot. So, directing. Let's go. Directing. Spike Lee, Black Klansman, Pavel Pawlikowski, Cold War, Yorgos Lanthimos, The Favorite, Alfonso Cuarón, Roma, Adam McKay, Vice.
The folks really love Alfonso Cuarón, so again for Roma, and I can see where if Roma does not win for Best Picture, they would give it to him for Best Director and split that. It'd be nice if Spike
That's what I'm
won.
saying. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's his best movie, but again, it's not about your best movie. It's just what the culture is. His movie is very kind of culturally relevant, even though it is based in the early 70s. But it's still touching on a lot of things that are to the forefront in 2019. So.
And then we go. Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice.
Again, I would think I really like Roma, but I can see where Roma would not win, and I can see it being. I can see the Green Book doing it, just because, even though no one seems to like it, and it's funny. It's like if Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is kind of like, okay, you guys kind of have your finger on the pulse.
Yeah,
I can see where Green Book winning would be the opposite. You're like, you guys don't get it. There are other movies that are better than that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'm just cynical and jaded. I feel like that movie is just, it's based on true story, so I'm not going to hate on that. And, I'm sure it gives a good message. But I just feel like it's kind of, that movie is an example of kind of just like award bait 101.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the premise and, I mean, not to take away from the actors. I mean, Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, they're great actors. I like their work. They've done some good things, but I don't know. This one just seems like it's a little pandering.
Yeah, this one might be your typical toss-up, but...
or I can see the favorite just sliding on in there, maybe, because the other ones are elbowing each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the thing is, you look at Black Panther, Afro-futuristic. Then you have Green Book, a historical look back in the old days before things were right. Then you have Black Klansman, who also, you know, you look at that's a little bit later than the Green Book.
Then you got Bohemian Rhapsody, which is your look at Queen in general, but Freddie Mercury to an extent. So, I mean, there's a lot of... I don't want to say historical movies, but a lot of like documentary-ish movies.
Yeah. I always wonder what Bohemian Rhapsody would have been like if Sacha Baron Cohen had played Freddie Mercury. Because I mean, I know he wanted a little more realistic, a little more serious. And I've heard different stories about Bohemian Rhapsody where they wanted to do the movie where Freddie dies in the middle, and then it's just how the group responds after that, which would have been awful because. You know, that'd been like doing a Jackson's movie. Like, oh, yeah, you have Michael die in the first few minutes. And now it's everybody else just figuring out what the hell are we going to do now? Which, again, wouldn't be a very good story.
No. Yeah.
So, I am debating. Let's just say I'll be shocked if either Black Panther or Black Klansman win. I will say, and I heard Vice wasn't really good. And like I said, listening to Keith's review, it wasn't good.
I haven't seen it yet. I will see it because it's part of this ticket package. Keith panned it, and what I've read and the summaries I've read, I'm very disappointed because that trailer really hyped me up. I was like, oh, you know, it's like Christian Bale doing one of his transformation things. And Amy Adams is really you think about, you know, this is the same woman from Talladega Nights. She's good in that, and you know, she's usually a very good actor. And just, I don't know, but I guess they just kind of Adam McKay kind of dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, it looked like it wasn't a good one. That, like you said, with some movies they saved the best for the trailers. We all could have got next day aired after that one.
Those are the main ones, yeah.
Yeah, those are the real main ones, honestly.
Yeah, at least the good thing is we can look back at this a few days later after this airs, and we can say, okay, how much?
I think maybe when we record an episode, I'm going to hedge my bets. I'll just say exactly opposite of what I just said. So.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's the equivalent of filling out multiple brackets, March Madness, and
oh yeah. You just got to figure out who is UMBC in this case.
Yeah.
Well, Ben and Brad, I do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys got a podcast to record, but I wanted to let people know if they wanted to talk movies with you guys, what are the best ways they can connect with you?
You know, we're still kind of under the radar, which is fine, whatever. You can find us on iTunes, and if you want to be the first person who's ever emailed us, you can do so at moviesandamealog@gmail.com. And, you know, we'd be glad to hear from you. Positive, negative, it's fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, again, we would be talking about movies anyway.
Yeah.
And we would be hanging out with each other and, you know, debating on this stuff. Anyway, going to the movies. So basically all we've done is just add a microphone and recorded our thoughts for posterity. That's it. But thanks for having us, Earl. Like I said, it's good to talk about sports.
Yeah, and it's good to talk about movies as well. And I thought this would be a great time and a great way to talk about both of the genres together.